at the moment of filming this, it's the 17th of April, 2025. And I didn't do this video yesterday, which was the 16th. But a year ago yesterday at midday, Sarah's bowel burst and she got rushed into hospital. But it wasn't until 3:30 in the morning of the 17th that they called me to tell me that I need to come along, that the operation went well, but that there'd been complications afterwards and I needed to come along, which, if anybody's ever had that phone call or familiar with this story, usually and almost always means that the person's died, they're dead, or they're going to be. And by the time I got there, she was dead, but they'd brought her back to life. And so it's a year to the day that my wife died. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with what happened, there are probably 3 of you that are unfamiliar, here's a little recap of what happened to Sarah 1 year ago today. So yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's been a difficult year. Now, I've been debating with this with Sarah whether to do this or not, but what it's taken me a year to realise is that, and this sounds really self-deprecating and selfish, and it's not supposed to be, so please, if you think it is, then you don't understand. As simple as that, you don't understand. What Sarah went through for the first 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, because she was in a coma, is nothing. Physically, everything, but mentally is a different story. And it's taken me a long time, almost exactly a year, to realise that it's okay for me to say that I had a bad time. Now, everybody would think, oh, you had a bad time, your wife was in hospital, she was dying, she brought back, but it's no just as simple as that. Anybody that's been through anything like this with a wife, a husband, a partner, a family member, a child, it's being in the hospital, weirdly, is the easy part. Now, bear with me here. Being in the hospital and having everybody in there telling you what to do. You can come through here. You can sit there. You can do this. We're doing that. We're doing this. This is what we hope. That's all. Oh shit. Okay, but and that's something, right? But when you come home, and you have to come home, you can't stay there all the time. So obviously 77 days she was in there. I was at the hospital every day for 77 days. I didn't miss a single day. And that's not me wanting that's just the truth. It's just a timeline. But I was there from 9 in the morning until 2. Then I'd come home, let the dogs out, feed the dogs, give them a wee walk, give them some time, and then go back for 6. Every day for 77 days. Apart from the 77th day where I went home and I came back with Sarah. But the hardest part of the first 2.5 weeks, like when she was in a coma, the hardest part was coming back here and having nobody telling me what I'm supposed to do. Do you know what I mean? And I've like spent a lot of time thinking about it recently, obviously with the year coming up. But for those of you that also haven't watched the other ones, I had to go shopping. Now, I'm not a Luddite. I'm not a, you know, oh, my wife will do all that. She'll do the washing and the cooking. That's not how our family works. Because Sarah had cancer and all these other things, she had to retire from work. She does not like it when I say I'm going to cook, or she's like, no, you will not. You've been at work, you know. But it's not like a cook me my dinner, you know. It's never going to be like that in my house. But I didn't fully know how to do a lot of things. You know, I know how to work the washing machine, but I just didn't know exactly what things Sarah bought. Because when I was younger, it was powder, it was liquid, and it was just small things like that, you know. How long does this take to cook exactly? Because it's difficult, I'd say. We've got a little hatch. Let me excuse all the Lego. But see that little hatch right there? That goes into the kitchen. So, the kitchen, I'd say, sweetheart, how long does such and such take? And she's like, oh, you just do this. So, I came home and I realised I didn't know how to do certain things. And I went to Tesco's with my mum and dad one day, and I was standing in front of the softener, the washing up softener, the clothes softener stuff. And it just dawned on me that I didn't know what to buy. So I pulled my phone out and I tried to phone Sarah. And she was still in a coma, and it dawned on me that, again, I'm not a Luddite. I'm not one of these shitty husbands that does nothing and just sits and, you know, I'm not. But I didn't know what to buy. I didn't know what the smell was that's on my clothes that I like. And I had a meltdown in Tesco's, and I was crying, and I was falling to my knees, and people, strangely enough, now thinking about this, my dad, who I love my dad, but he grew up in Motherwell, and for those of you watching this that are not in Britain or in Scotland, Motherwell and Wishy, it's Wishaw, but it's called Wishy. Not, how do I put this politely? Not great, and the place they stayed, Pather, shithole. Not a lot of emotion in Wishy in the 60s and the 70s from fathers to sons. Just not a lot. My dad's not necessarily like that, but when I was having a full breakdown in front of all these people in Tesco's, he just didn't know what to do. And that's not because he's an arse, he just didn't know what to do, because I've never done that before, you know. So he went to get my mum, and as he was away getting my mum, a stranger came up to me, and she was like, listen, are you all right? And I told her, apparently I'd say to her, my wife's in a coma, she's been in a coma for 3 days, this was only 3 days in, and she put her arms around me until my mum came round, and we figured out what I was going to, and it was just, but it's been a difficult year, and not this video, maybe the next again video, we're going to sit down with Sarah, and we're going to have like a podcast-ish version, one-on-one. We're going to write questions. If you've got any questions, this is important now. If you've got any questions that you want to ask me about my side of what happened, or Sarah's, about our medical stuff, about our procedures, about what our body, any questions whatsoever, and I do mean any questions, please put them below, or send them to me at ninelinertattoo@gmail.com, or Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp, anything you want, and we'll sit down and we'll do a slightly long form version and ask me or her any questions. And I can't stress this enough. If you're wondering, how do you poop now with a stoma? What's it like? Anything at all. Ask anything. We are a family who we have got nothing to hide. We've got nothing to be ashamed about. If you want to see Sarah's head, anything you want, ask us these questions. That's what it's about. These videos, unsurprisingly, get the most views that I get on this channel. And that's great, but not many people have asked any questions. And what this is going to do, this and the next video and the other ones, is just help people. And I said this before a year ago, or maybe a few months ago when I made a video. Like, if I'd known a fraction of what to expect going in, it might not have been so terrifying. So if these help one person get through something, then that's great. But anyway, Ask any questions you like, okay? And we'll film a video, sit and do, and I'll write them all down, I'll have them all ready, and we'll do a Q&A with Sarah and me. We'll both do it at the same time. A year ago, today, and I guess I'm just going to, this part, I'm just going to show you a little bit of Sarah's recovery now. As recent as just last week when we went a walk to the prairie. Not so much in the last few days, because for those of you that follow me on the internet, I have blown my back out something fucking chronic. I had to get... Hello, Lumen. Lumen came in. I had to get diazepam for the doctor, and it's been a fucking nightmare. My back's killing me. However, I digress. We'll show you some of the stuff that maybe you haven't seen for when she came out of hospital, and the journey a little bit in this video. So yeah, please enjoy the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like, please share, do all that stuff. And usually I ask people to do that on my videos because I want to get more followers. I want to have more people watching my tag. But this one is slightly different. I do want all that, and that's just the truth. I want to have more followers, and I do. And if I said no, I'd be a fucking liar. But what I want is to get this as wide as far as possible to show people that even in the darkest, worst times, things can and evidently do get better. Not always, some people don't. Like one of the statistics, or there's a couple of statistics I'll never forget, but one of the statistics is 8 out of 10 people in the world, let that sink in for a second, 8 out of 10 people in the world do not survive what happened to Sarah. 8 out of 10 people in the world do not survive what happened to Sarah. I mean, I know I might be being a bit dramatic, some people, but think of the statistics. 8 out of 10. That is terrifying. Terrifying. And Sarah's already had, years ago, she had glandular fever, which went away and left. If you don't know what glandular fever is, look it up. But basically it comes, it kicks the fuck at you. There's no cause, there's no cure. It usually just comes and then fucks off and leaves behind something. And with Sarah, it left behind fibromyalgia. So she's got fibromyalgia, she had cancer. And the weird thing is, the operation, her bowel burst on the 16th of April last year. 6 years before that, she had an operation to remove a tumour that was right between her heart and her lungs on the 16th of April. Yesterday, my dad, who, as you probably know, has got cancer, he went for a scan yesterday to see if his cancer's gone, back, or the same, because he's feeling some pain in his armpits again, which is not a great sign. And we don't know the result of that yet. So, and I said this to somebody the other day, and I swear on that little cute poochie's life and mine over, and I don't usually do that because it's a bit weird, but if it comes back that my dad, if it hasn't gotten better or if it's gotten worse, I don't care who is over here on tour, friends of mine, if we're on holiday, if there's a band on tour, that I will never leave the house on the 16th of April ever again, because that would be 3. If my dad's stuff, because we're hoping that we get good news for Dad and that reclaims the 16th back, but it's just the chances of her getting that cancer operation on the 16th and then 6 years later to the day her bowel going, that must be a quite a low statistic, or a high, or high or low, I don't know what's good. Either way, it's unusual. So, but we'll just pretend that the 16th doesn't happen. So yeah, now I'm going to try and show you some footage or pictures, probably be pictures mostly, but maybe some footage of Sarah during the last year, slowly but surely getting better. And then in a wee second, we'll go into how she is doing just now, very briefly, because the next one, or the next again one video, is going to be that Q&A with how you are and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, here we go. there's some images of Sarah, how she's been doing, what's been happening. There's a lot more to that, a lot more. But I just wanted to show you that our story, how it's going. And also, like I said, if one person watches this and is at the start of where we were a year ago, and they look and they say, holy fuck, okay, it can get better, that's worth the video making. Surely it has to be. But yeah, the next bit I want to do is thank some people. So hold on to your bonnet. First of all, I want to thank my wife, because something that I don't think we've mentioned in any of the videos. There's certain things that happened in Sarah's, when she was in a coma for 2 and a bit weeks, that she's not quite comfortable talking about just yet. There is various books, and there's 1 or 2 in particular which we'll go into in the Q&A, about people that have done studies into people who are in a coma. And if they hear, if they see, if they dream, if they have experiences. And they can be great, they can be nothing, or they can be absolutely horrific. And without saying too much at the minute, because she's not quite ready yet, they were horrific. They were horrific, beyond horrific. What I'll do is I'll try and see if I can push her a little bit to talk about one in particular. We'll see. She might be ready, she might not. I haven't asked her, but we'll see. So I'd like to thank Sarah, because here she comes. Shall we stay and see what's happening? You ready? I'm trying to film my fucking video here.
Chopping in my hair. Quite like it. I've given myself pixie.
That bit's not as long as the rest.
It's fine. It's not meant to be.
Oh,
It's
good.
meant
Well,
to be
that's
all.
fine then.
It's meant to
Do
be
you want to
all.
let them see it yet?
No.
No, yet. I was just talking to them, right? And it's still recording, so I'll not show you them. I'll not show you them. Shut up.
Well, you can turn it on, but it's not finished.
You sure?
Aye. Yeah, cut my hair. Cut my hair.
So I've just been saying to them, I'm at the part now where I'm thanking people.
Okay.
And the first person I wanted to thank is you. So I'll probably do that when you're up the stairs, so you didn't get all big headed. But I was saying to them that in the next video, or the next again, I've asked them to send us questions.
Alright.
Anything. What was it like? What's it like having a stoma? How
My
do you,
dreams are fantastic.
how do you poo? How do you, any question? There's
dreams.
no question, and she'll tell you this now, in case they think I'm wrong. There's no question
Not much
off
point.
limits.
Nah.
There's no. The other thing I wanted to say to them was that you've never been quite ready to go into strong detail about your coma dreams,
The nightmares.
but you might be ready soon. But one of them was
No.
one of them was, and this is why the big thank you is, we are on the fence, shall we say, so we didn't upset many people, but we're on the fence about religion, and that we're on the fence as far as we don't really believe it. So I guess we're not agnostic. Aye. However, and I've spoke to somebody else about this, and I think it was actually Grant, my friend Grant, who was the drummer in Frightened Rabbit, who's now the drummer in Twilight Sad. He's heard of this as well. But Sarah, there was no white light, there was no God, there was no gates of heaven, nothing like that. But when she was in a coma, or when she was getting operated on, one of the two, there was a very, and I'll get her to tell you this when we do the Q&A straight to the camera thing, but for the sake of this, there was a very much, this way is death, this way is back to life. And she consciously, very clearly made a decision to go that way to come back to life. And the kicker is, the rub I suppose is, it was for me.
This guy.
It was for me. So we'll go into that in detail. We'll go into that in detail in the next long form video. Like I say, I might try and grab some podcast equipment. I might not. I might just fucking stick a kit. But we'll see. We'll figure it out. But please, 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 and Sarah's here to tell you, send the questions. Any questions. Any questions at all.
How to cope with maybe a long stay in hospital.
Yep.
That shit.
Anything from what it was like for me, what it's like for her, anything at all. So, okay, I love you.
Love you. Right, Doc.
So that's the first person I want to thank is Sarah. Second is my mum and my dad. They came with me every day to hospital. Every day. Now, my dad is not... Push the door, son. Keep going. There you go. My dad is not great with hospital stuff. He's scared of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But he would come every day, but he wouldn't come into the ward in the ICU. He didn't like to see people dying and all that, which I don't blame him at all. But mum came every single day. So did dad, but dad waited outside in the sort of foyer bit or the canteen or whatever. So I'd like to say to my parents, thank you. I genuinely don't think I would have got through it all without my mum and my dad. Now, some people might say, that's their job, and I get that, but they're 70 years old. My dad's got cancer. My mum's got something called Addison's disease, which if you're not familiar, if you get in a car crash, if you cut yourself, if you have an accident, anything at all, your body produces adrenaline, which then keeps your heart pumping, you know? My mum produces 0.0 adrenaline. Addison's disease. 0.0 adrenaline. So if she gets in an accident, gets a cut, gets a tooth removed, she can die, she can go into a coma really fucking quickly. She's got an EpiPen thing to stab herself. Go to the dentist to get a tooth removed is like a 7 or 8 man, or should I say person job. It's really dangerous. She gets really fatigued. She's got steroids. She's just, and like I say, she's 70, which is, it's not exactly old, but if you've got conditions and then you've got dad and it, but anyway, it couldn't have been easy for them to see their daughter-in-law in that place, to see their son struggling. So yeah, I want to say a massive thank you to my mum and dad. My dad doesn't watch my videos. He doesn't go on the internet. He's got I got him an iPad ages ago. He got an iPad. He uses it for news, various things. He doesn't go on YouTube on it. He doesn't watch my videos. He doesn't do fuck all. But I'd like to thank my mum and dad very much for helping. Then I'd like to thank any individual person, every single person who sent a message, who liked a video, who liked a post, who commented. If you done anything whatsoever during Sarah's time in the hospital, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really do. I really do. And another shout out has to go to a friend of mine, Craig, who's in a band called Haver. You've seen him play a lot of time. He messaged a lot. He messaged every other day, pretty much. So thank you very much, Craig. I really appreciate it. And one of the other, I'm sure there's people I'm forgetting, and I'll maybe add them in later, but one other person I really have to thank is the aforementioned Grant Hutchison. Can I just say, and this is a small thing, as a Stuart MacDonald, UAMAC, when people spell it EW and MC, it really fucking annoys me. So Scott and Grant's last name is Hutchison. If you're ever writing anything or please don't put an N in. It's not Hutchinson, because that's fucking annoying. But that's just a separate in for me. But I just want to say a huge thank you to Grant Hutchison. And I'll tell you for why, because I ain't got no shame. Sarah and I, we have savings like anybody else. We have ISAs, we have whatever else. And for the first maybe month or something, I couldn't work for 77 days. I think I worked on the 76th or 5th day for an hour to see how I felt going back. But I didn't work, but I still had to pay all the bills, the shop, the rent, the house, everything still had to be paid. You can't phone up and say, hey, my wife's in a coma, can I just have a month off? And they go, oh, aye, fucking right, you can. Doesn't work that way. So things were going all right. I still had money in ISAs and savings in my bank, in the house, and the safe. So we're working through the money and it was fine. Well, we're burning through it, but that's what you do. I couldn't give two shits. And then Grant, off his own back, I didn't ask him. And for those of you not familiar, Grant was in a band who are no longer together called Frightened Rabbit, who were one of my favourite bands of all time. And friends of mine, and Scott, the singer, committed suicide, so the band obviously stopped. But Grant's become a friend of mine over the years, and he messaged me and he says, listen, because I was doing, when Sarah was awake, and because she had to learn to walk and talk and eat and all that, but once she was out the coma and we were about 60% sure she wasn't going to die again, I started doing commission paintings from my house, and selling them, and a lot of people bought commissions. So thank you to everybody that bought a commission from me. That really helped. It really, really helped. And then one day, off his own back, Grant says to me, why don't you do a frightened rabbit painting, send it to me, and I will take responsibility for the rest of the remaining members of the band signing it, which is like hen's teeth. The rest of the band don't do anything together. They don't, that's not something easy to do. So Grant done that, and he sold, I think it was £3 an entry. It was like a random, it was a website he used, and it was £3 to enter, and then there was a random winner chosen, and he got the painting, and then it was all signed, and it was lovely. And after Grant had paid the website, because obviously the website has to make money, I ended up getting over £5,000, which meant that I could instantly stop worrying about the shop, because I was just going to close my shop down and start again somewhere else if and when Sarah made a recovery. We'll speak about that in the other, but that was a real possibility. I had messages written to my landlord of the shop, and I had everything ready just to send to multiple places saying, due to this, I'm closing my shop and blah, blah, blah. I was ready just to give it all up. And my family were like, don't do it, we can help you, we'll give you. And I didn't want to take money from my 70-year-old parents. I just don't want to do that. And because of Grant doing that and sending me over £5,000, it saved the shop, but more importantly, it gave me peace of mind. So I could sit by Sarah's bedside every day, all day, minus the break in the middle, and not worry about anything apart from her, So to you, Grant, if you're watching this, I don't think there'll ever be anything I can do enough to show you how much that meant. And it's no, I don't say the wrong thing here, but as you're probably aware, I have autism, so I just open my mouth and whatever's in here just fucking rolls out. Sarah's been like, try and have a wee think about what you're saying, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but I never really do, it just fucking falls out. But what I want to say is, it could have been £5, it could have been £500, and it could have been, and it was, over £5,000. The money, emotionally, physically it helped, but what I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter how much money it was. The fact that you done that off your own back and was prepared to do that, it really means a lot. I've done all my crying last night, so I'm not crying today. Sarah and I were in bed last night, we were having a cry, and she was asking me some things, and then we'll go into that. But the reason I'm not crying is because I'm cried out. But Grant, everybody that entered that competition as well, and paid their £3 from all over the world, thank you. Before I forget, thank you. Because he done it all, but yous sent the money, yous entered. So thank you so much. You'll never understand. Thank you. But to Grant, specifically to you, this is for you. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. I love you, and I respect you as a human being for that. I really do. I always knew you were a great musician, a great husband, a great dad, all that stuff. But as a friend, doing something like that, and I can't say thank you enough. I can't. You really just gave me peace of mind, and I don't think you can put a price on peace of mind, and that really, it really helped me. I let out a sigh, and I just thought, holy shit, okay. So thank you, Grant. I really do appreciate it. And thank you to the rest of the band for signing it out. Thank you. Okay, next. I think is the last part of this, to be honest. It's just what's future-wise. So, Sarah has still got a lot of pain from her bladder. Every time the bladder's filling up, she's in a lot of pain. And Sarah does better with pain than almost any, maybe apart from my mum and my dad, anybody I've ever met, she does better with pain than every single one of them, apart from them, like I mentioned. And if full pain is 10, and it's the end of the world, fuck's sake, that's too bad, it's too bad. The bladder filling up, she had said, was about, I don't know, you know what, I'm just going to ask her so I didn't get it wrong. Sorry about that. So, if 10's the worst ever, when the bladder is filling up, when she starts to need to go to the toilet, it gets to about a 7 or an 8. Every time. And because her kidneys hadn't been working too great and various other things, she has to drink a lot of water, which in turn means a lot of peeing. So 8 when the bladder's filling up, 0 when she's peeing, and then 6, 7 or 8 again after she's finished peeing. So we've been to a specialist whose name is Dr. Donut, a Dutch guy who's really good. Camera put up to see, so there was nothing, no scarring, no cancer, no lumps, no nothing like that in the bladder. So they're not 100% sure what it could be, but they're still doing more tests. But yeah, so that's sort of what she's like. And obviously she's got the stoma, she's got the hernia, which the NHS won't operate on because it's no, it's huge for us or for her, but it's no huge for them. So can't argue with that. We could do it separately, but it's a dangerous operation. We could do it privately. But as far as healing and how she's feeling now, every day's a battle. And she'll be better to tell you this herself. Now be prepared in the next again video, the next one or whenever, it's either going to be the next video or the next again video. There will be tears. And not just for Sarah, I presume. But so we'll go into that much more. But yeah, she's doing okay. She's doing okay. She's alive. She's doing good. Well, okay. She, I'd say 60% of the time she's completely happy, and the rest of the time she hates her body, which is perfectly normal. Perfectly normal. But again, she'll go into more of that. But physically, how she physically is, she's doing okay. I need to turn off my wee fire. I'm fucking cooking to death here. 2 seconds. Sorry about that. A tad warm. So, now I suppose the next part to finish off would be, what do we expect going forward from here? Would really love to get this bladder pain under control. Now, she had a catheter for 70... Now, they took it out. So she in 77 days. I think she had a bladder for 74 days. She had 3 or 4 days in the hospital without the catheter. She had a bladder, sorry. She had a catheter for urinating for 74 days, I think. So there was 3 or 4 days without the catheter because she was now able to get up and walk to the bathroom. So we're wondering if having the catheter in for 70 odd days has caused some sort of damage. But we don't know. We just don't know. They're cultivating a sample from our bladder. That was Dr. Donut was sending that away. Sorry, was sending that away. When she was getting her cancer stuff done, she had a doctor called Dr. Christmas as well. Anyway, Dr. Donut sent that away, and we haven't heard anything yet, but it can take a while. NHS is sort of swamped at the minute, I guess, but we'll see. So going forward, I guess we just want for, I can't speak on behalf of Sarah, so maybe she'll do that in the next one. But for me, what would I like for Sarah going forward? I would obviously like her to have no pain. One thing I should maybe touch on is the stoma. I guess we'll bring that up in the next video as well. But we were told in the hospital numerous times, probably 10 times in 70 odd days, that when the time comes, maybe a year or whatever, maybe a little bit longer, depending, everybody's different, that they can reverse the stoma, put her intestine back in, stitch her up, and then, without being graphic obviously, but our bum will start being, and she'll turn it into normal people poo, your tushy. Turns out that the hospital, I'm trying to think of a better word than lied, because that's an extreme word in certain circumstances, but they knew. We got told they operated on Sarah, sorry, that's really bad. They operated on Sarah the first time and they took 30 centimetres of bowel. Now, I don't have a ruler to hand, but just a normal school ruler is 30 centimetres long. So they took 30 centimetres of bowel, because there was obviously a hole in one part of the bowel. So they took, if the hole was in the middle, they took 30 centimetres of it to take the hole away. But what they didn't tell us until I went to see a specialist about 2 months, 3 months ago, 2 months ago. And that's when we found out that they'd operated twice on Sarah's bowel and took a secondary 30 centimetres because of the sepsis had effectively rotted that part away. We didn't fully understand that. They hadn't told us that. And that guy was like, look, you can't, 90% sure you cannot get the stoma reversed. We could open you up, the same big fucking scars. We could get in there and then realise there's not enough bowel to reconnect because they took two. And they'd been telling us for all that time, yeah, you can get it reversed, no problem. It's a quick in and out, snap. No. So we found out not long ago that she won't be getting that reversed. Almost surely won't be getting the stoma reversed, which was a huge blow. Huge. It was like starting again for her. I'll let her go into the feelings of that. I know, but I'll let her tell you that herself. We'll write that down in the bulletin points, I guess, and we'll go into that. That specialist was one of the guys that also told us that statistically Sarah, in his words, was a miracle because of how severe she was, what she had, how she survived, and the fact that she already had fibro, which means, fibro means many things, but one of the things it means is much longer healing time, much longer. And he used the word miracle, which, now, before Sarah's bowel burst, she used to be in bed for 6 days a week, sometimes 7, because of severe, Christ, what was it called? I'm having a brain fart. IBS. They told her for years she had bad IBS. So she couldn't eat certain things. If we were going to a concert on a Friday, she would stop eating on Wednesday night, maybe Thursday afternoon at a push, because if not, she wouldn't make it to the concert. There's a couple of times we had to stop at toilets on the way back. Luckily, she never ever shat herself, which sounds funny to say, and it you know, you can laugh, that's fine. Some people shit themselves with IBS, you can't control it, but luckily that never happened to Sarah. But one thing that happened was after her bowel burst, and all that stuff happened, and she came round and everything, and she started to eat again. She had to, like I said, I probably mentioned before, she had to learn to walk, talk, eat, drink, everything. She had to start again. But as a result, she can now eat and drink whatever she wants without pain. Now, that sounds like normal. If you're watching this and you're thinking, I've been able to do that since I was a baby, that's great. But imagine you can't have coffee, you can't have steak, you can't have certain pasta, you can't have crisps, you can't have anything with any kind of spice in it. I'd say if 100% is all the food in the world, there was and I'm not being dramatic, about an 85% of stuff Sarah could not eat because it would just cripple her. The pain, she'd be doubled up in bed, she'd be throwing up in the bathroom, she'd be, and that completely went. She doesn't have any of that at all. And the specialist in his field, that guy that said she was a miracle, has been a specialist at the height of his field for 20 years, has never heard that one time in 20 years. And he said he's never even heard that before he was a specialist at the top. He's never heard of anybody getting their eating life back after that happened, and he doesn't know why. And they don't know what causes IBS properly either. He says we can't really study it as such. It's really difficult. But he says he's never heard that, so that's weird. She can now eat and drink whatever she wants, whenever she wants. Coffee, it doesn't matter, anything. So it's like, it's this weird mind fuck where you're like, she had to die and go through one of the worst things in her life to get a huge part of her life back. But that comes with its own setbacks, because now, like, we'll go into this again later. I'm probably sick of hearing me saying that, but we've got a kit in the glove compartment of the car with a key that unlocks any toilet in the UK, any disabled toilet or any toilet in the UK. When you're chronically disabled and ill, like what Sarah is, you get a key and it unlocks any of the toilets. We've got that in there. We've got our bags for our stoma. We've got a kit, basically a full kit in the car We've also got a full kit that Sarah wears in a little bag round her neck whenever we go out. That's just part of life. A lot of it, and we've become to realise, is about managing, not necessarily lowering, but sometimes, but mostly the word managing expectations and fitting things into your life that weren't there before. Like having that kit. Like keeping an eye on, because you don't feel like you need to go to the toilet when you have a stoma. Like you don't go, oh, I need to go to the toilet, and you don't push. There's none of that. I know this might be a bit thingy for some people, but if you don't understand, you don't push. It just comes out. Now, there is two ways you can do what's happened with Sarah with the reattachment, if you like. There is a large bowel and a small bowel. The large bowel's only job, exclusively its only job, is to extract the moisture from any food that you eat. Okay? So, if you don't like poop chat, then get fucked, but it's important. The large bowel extracts any fluid from any food that you eat. And then the fluid comes out as a wee, or it goes elsewhere in the body, sweat, whatever it might be. I'm pretty sure it's just wee though. And that leaves a solidish state, which is what poop is. Which is why poop doesn't always come out runny, because the large bowel has extracted the fluid from it, okay? One of the ways they could reattach Sarah's bowel together is by completely bypassing the large bowel and just go straight to the small bowel. That could be done. 99%, if not more, of people who do that, they have 100% chronic diarrhea because the food isn't getting the fluid extracted from it. So it's all liquid. You get me? So she didn't want to do that for obvious reasons. So that's one reason that they didn't want to do it as well. So just a little bit of medical information for you there, if you don't already know why. Some people might be thinking, isn't there two bowels? You can just... That's why you can't do it, because what she's got sometimes she struggles with mentally, which is understandable, but having diarrhea every day, all day, well, not all day, you're not just sitting diet, but every time you go bathroom, that's not an option for her. That she didn't want to do. Instantly she was like, nope, and I'm like, okay. So, but anyway, I digress. Moving forward, I just hope that Sarah gets stronger. It's hard to exercise at the minute because the muscles in the stomach were separated. If they're like this, they got vulcaned, as I keep saying, they got separated wide. You've seen the size of the hole in Sarah's stomach. They have to move them separate to either side to get in. So any exercise can be really uncomfortable. We're going to go swimming. Sarah can't swim. As many of you might know or might not, she was brought up in foster care when she was a kid. So there's a lot of things that she did learn to do when she was younger, like cooking and cleaning, because she had to, because nobody was going to do it for her. But a lot of things that she didn't do because nobody told her and she just didn't have the time, is swimming, riding a bike, that sort of stuff. So Sarah and I were going to work on swimming because that'd be nice and soft for not too much jiggling for her sore tummy, but still a good workout. So we're going to do that soon. But I guess just moving forward for Sarah, for my wish for Sarah is just to get stronger, to get happier looking at herself, because she hates everything about herself from head to toe. And yeah, because when you think about it, one day she was sort of happy with her appearance. Nobody's ever 100% happy, I don't think. But she was sort of like, yeah, I've got long hair, I can fit, I'm all right, you know, I'm okay. She goes to sleep and wakes up the next day, 3 weeks later, and she's got a giant fucking wound in her stomach. She's got a stoma. She can't speak, she can't walk. Then 2 months after that, 3 months after that, she comes home. She's got no hair, we shave it off. So everything's changed. And I just want her to be happier within herself, which is, it might happen, it might not. She might never look at herself and be happy. And that's okay. That's okay. You can't force happiness on people. But I wish for her that she looks at herself and maybe even doesn't look at herself and go, oh no. Sometimes I wish that she could just look at herself and be like, okay, that would be my wish for Sarah going forward, to be happier within herself, to be stronger. I can't remember the statistic, but there's quite a fairly high statistic in people who die and come back or get sepsis that it can come back within a year. It's quite a high statistic because of what happened with the body. And she was always worried about that. But I think because they literally, I won't show you any, but if you want to see what happens, YouTube it. It's unbelievable. They effectively open you up, take everything out while it's still sort of attached, put it in a see-through bag, like with a mesh bag, clean out your insides, clean out everything, and let's be honest, it's the poo from your intestines. That's what gives you that's what gave her the sepsis. They clean it out in the bag and they put it all back in. And I think because it was such a severe case of sepsis and it had leaked for so long, which was only an hour, by the way, before they started, so maybe 2 hours, but because it was a severe case and they cleaned her out that much, and she had three separate operations, but one of them was right after the other one, so it was technically just 2, we'll say 2. Because that was such severe, I think they cleaned her within an inch of her life. So I think she's not going to get sepsis again now. She's not. But that was always a stress for her every day. And I think sometimes that didn't help because she'd be like, oh, and I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Are you dying? And that took me a good 5 or 6 months to know, be like, oh, what's wrong? Where are you going? What's wrong? She's like, I'm just got to the toilet. All right, okay. You know, yeah, so I guess moving forward for Sarah, that's what I'd like. Moving forward for me, I just want to continue to be there for Sarah. I suppose that's it. I guess I would maybe like for myself to not have as much stress about Sarah as I do. But that's not her fault, obviously. But I just think, like I said, anytime there's any kind of, like at the minute when her bladder's getting sore, sometimes it's an 8, sometimes it's a 6, sometimes it's an 8 and a bit, I think. And she lies to me and tells me it's not as bad as it is. But I get the absolute panic every time that happens. I think, Christ, is that it again now? Are we off to the hospital again? And she's like, no, it's fine. But, so yeah, I guess just moving forward, I'd like that to be a bit less stressful for Sarah and me. I try not to make it all about me because it's not, but I'm just telling you what I would like for me is to be less stressed about it. But yeah, so we're going to bring this one to an end because it's probably too long anyway. And either the next video or the next again video. Actually, you know what? The next video, we're going on holiday on Saturday for a week to a church, a beautiful church. First thing I'm going to say is cunt when I get in the church. I don't know because I'm a child. But we're going away to this beautiful place. So the next video or 2 might be about our week's holiday. But the next again one, it'll be very soon. I'll sit down and we'll do a long form. We'll maybe split it into 2. But we'll do a long form, sit down, and we'll have a huge discussion. So please send in your questions. Either underneath this video or, like I say, 9linertattoo@gmail.com, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. Send me any of the questions, as many as you can, and we'll answer them. As detailed, as random, anything at all, and we'll get some backwards and forwards going, maybe get some awareness. All right. So thank you very much for watching this. Hopefully it's not been too much of a bullshit rant for you. But a year to the day. What a fucking ride it's been. It's been absolutely crazy. So yes, thank you for watching. Give me your questions. Subscribe to the channel. And I shall see you soon. All right. Peace. Bye.